Today, we're unpacking a story that is literally straight out of a psychological thriller. We're breaking down a modern parable about wealth, betrayal, and the ultimate test of human nature. If you've ever wondered about the hidden cost of having it all, well, you're in the right place. We're going to look at human behavior from a drastically different angle. Think about this for a second. What actually happens when a man who has absolutely everything decides to just throw it all away on purpose? It's crazy, right? I mean, most of us spend our entire lives trying to build wealth and security, essentially building a fortress around our families. But the guy in our story today, he flips that script completely, just to uncover a really uncomfortable truth. Okay, let's dive right into this. Act 1, the generous man, and his seemingly perfect life. To really get the magnitude of the fallout that's coming, we have to establish who this guy was. He was famous in his town for his daily generosity. And we're not just talking about some rich guy writing a tax-deductible charity check once a year. No, he was constantly helping strangers, supporting struggling families, literally paying out-of-pocket school fees for people in the community. To the public, he was a walking blessing. And at home, he had it all. A beautiful wife, 3 wonderful kids, and a life the whole town envied. On paper, it was absolute perfection. But despite all that outward perfection, this quiet, haunting doubt started creeping in. He actually asked his best friend a deeply unsettling question. Is it love or is it my money? You know, when your whole life is built around giving things away, it's almost inevitable that a dark shadow of suspicion is going to form. Are people smiling at you or just for what you can do for them? That single lingering doubt completely consumed him, and it became the catalyst for everything that happened next. So to get his answer, he didn't just freeze his bank accounts. He came up with a master plan. Day 1, he makes this incredibly dangerous decision. By week 1, a terrible tragedy is manufactured. News breaks that his boat caught fire. Week 2, the public is told he didn't survive, nothing left but ashes. And by week 3, there's a somber burial. With just the help of his lawyer and his closest friend, he executed this flawless plan to just erase himself. The town mourned, his family cried, and just like that, the generous man was gone. But he wasn't gone. He was right there. He realized that stepping entirely out of his life was the literal only way he could see it with absolute clarity. Now, what's really interesting is Act 2, the true colors, because this is where everything changes. This is the exact moment the social experiment becomes a brutal reality check. The contrast is terrifying. Before the tragedy, when the money was flowing, nothing but praise, respect, and adoration. But look at the aftermath. The second he was presumed dead and his wealth looked unprotected, human nature took a very dark turn. The same people praising him showed their true colors immediately. Grief was completely replaced by greed. His own uncles aggressively stepped in, claiming his kids were too young, and started seizing his properties. The respect evaporated, the business fell apart, and a peaceful home turned into a literal battlefield of arguments. Even his best friend, the one actually standing by the family, was insulted and pushed out. And where was our protagonist during all this chaos? He was right there on the estate, just hidden in plain sight. He disguised himself as a local madman, dirty clothes, unkempt hair, just lingering in the background begging. And the cruel irony here, society completely ignores people with nothing. The exact same relatives and townspeople who used to sing his praises now walked right past him. They wouldn't even give him a second glance. They were utterly disgusted by his presence. Except for one person, his youngest daughter. While the adults were ruthlessly tearing his legacy apart over a dollar sign, this little girl would quietly sneak out of the house. She'd go to the edge of the property, bring this supposed madman snacks, smile at him, talk to him. It's such a beautifully tragic image, because she had absolutely no idea she was showing this pure, unconditional love to her own father. For the father under that disguise, it was pure agony. Watching, listening, breaking inside. He had to silently witness every insult hurled at his memory, every financial betrayal by his own blood relatives, and every single tear his overwhelmed wife cried. The emotional toll was just immense. It hurt so much that sometimes he almost stepped in to stop it. Actually, his best friend had to literally hold him back and remind him, "You have to see this through to get the absolute truth." Let's jump forward a whole year and see how this builds in Act 3, the reveal. So the dust had settled, the greed had fully taken root in the family, and it was finally time to spring the trap. The lawyer calls a highly anticipated meeting to read the will. The scene is incredibly tense. Family, relatives, observers, they're all crammed into one room, basically drooling, waiting to carve up the remaining pieces of his empire. The lawyer stands at the front, opens the document, reads the very first line, and then abruptly stops. He looks up and just says, "There is one person missing." Instant confusion ripples through the room. I mean, who could possibly be missing from an intimate family will reading? The lawyer turns to the best friend and instructs him to bring the missing person in. The door opens, and in shuffles the dirty, unkempt madman from the street. Instantly, there's outrage. The relatives are demanding to know why this beggar is ruining their payday. The lawyer just raises his hand, demanding absolute silence. He looks right at the beggar and says, "Sir, you may now reveal yourself." The tension in that room is off the charts. Everyone completely freezes. Slowly, deliberately, the madman reaches up and pulls off his disguise. All those angry murmurs turn into sudden, sharp gasps of shock. Alive. It was him. The shock in the room was just absolute deafening silence. His wife instantly collapses in tears of sheer disbelief. His kids run across the room, crying, grabbing onto the dad they thought they buried a year ago. He holds his family, whispering apologies over and over. But then, he stands up and turns to face the rest of the room. He looks at those uncles and relatives who ruthlessly tore his family apart, and his eyes go completely cold. He looks at them and delivers this absolute gut punch of a line, "I gave you everything, and this is what you did to my family?" Nobody dared to speak a single word. They couldn't. The truth had completely exposed every ounce of their greed. So what does this all mean? Let's move into our final section, the cost of generosity, and look at the takeaways. What can we take away from this intense narrative for our own lives? The biggest takeaway is actually really simple and absolutely crucial if you value kindness. After this whole ordeal, he didn't stop giving. Generosity itself was never the issue. It's a fundamentally beautiful trait. But going forward, he gave differently. He gave carefully, wisely. It shows us that setting boundaries doesn't mean you have to harden your heart or stop helping people. It just means recognizing that blind generosity leaves you incredibly vulnerable, while wise generosity protects your peace and the people you actually love. Because going through this painful process taught him a reality most people go their entire lives without fully grasping. As you hear this, let it really sink in. Not everyone who smiles with you is happy for you. It's a tough pill to swallow, but man, it is an essential truth for navigating your life, your wealth, and your relationships. And that brilliantly illustrates our final, resounding life lesson for this explainer. Generosity without wisdom attracts people who love what you have, not who you are. I really want to leave you with that provocative thought today. Take a look at the dynamics in your own life. Are you giving with wisdom and boundaries, or are you accidentally attracting people who only love the benefits you provide? It's definitely a question worth asking yourself every single day. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this fascinating story, and keep seeking clarity in everything you do.